You Were Born Rich. Phenomenal book. We on chapter 3, The Image Maker. What's the image that you have of yourself? Bob goes into detail as far as what the image that you hold about yourself. What do you tell yourself? How do you see yourself? We're going to get into it. You are the image maker. You are powerful. You are a creator. You can tell yourself anything that you want to tell yourself. You can tell yourself that you're a phenomenal human being and that everything works out great for you, or you can tell yourself that you suck. It's up to you. You're the image maker. So, Bob goes into detail about your self image. All right. The only competition you will ever have is your own ignorance. When you start to understand that you can build your own image, you no longer have to compete. Okay? You can create. Create your own image. So in the chapter, that's an exclamation mark, boy. Yourself. Build the proper image for yourself, man. You got to start telling yourself who you want to be. If you don't already, right? But if you're not getting the results that you want, then you're probably telling yourself something that you don't want, something that you don't want to be. You're probably having inner conversations with yourself of things that are not in line with what you deeply desire in your heart, right? But your mind and your heart have to be aligned for you to get whatever that you want. So whatever the image that you're telling of yourself, the story that you tell yourself, the things that you tell yourself. Bob goes into detail about a story in this chapter of the book, and he tells about he used to work for Prudential. So in Prudential, it was this guy who was a manager at one of the offices in Prudential sometime back then, and I think they had 500 offices altogether. He was 176 ranked office. And he's like, he goes to Bob and he says, yeah, I mean, I'm not bad, but I'm not great, right? It's respectable, 176 or 500, but it ain't great. He's like, I want to be great. I want to be in the top 100. Bob off top says, I know what your problem is. You're looking at yourself as a number 176th person or 76th person who has God damn it, what did I say this shit? You're looking at yourself as somebody who has 176 ranked office. Okay? That's how you view yourself. These are the thoughts that you have yourself. He said year by year, I can't seem to break past that 100th top rank, 100th office. So he gets with Bob, talks to him, and, Bob tells him that, and off rip, his eyes, lit up. He automatically had like an understanding. He follows Bob and, goes on like tour with them for a few days or whatnot, spends so much time with them, hours with them. Then he gets transferred from another office to one that's like ranked 160th. Long story short, 6 months later, guy becomes number 11th in Prudential as far as office rankings go. Okay? He had to change his self-image of who he was. So it's your self-image that's keeping you stuck. All right? You become whatever image you hold about yourself in your mind. Now, you either know this consciously and you use it to become whatever you want, or you don't know this consciously and you use these spiritual aspects and concepts to become and create whatever life that you want, not really knowing what you did. They call those unconscious competence. But at the end of the day, however one sees their self, if they see their self as phenomenal, if they see their self as always winning, if they see their self as nothing, everything always goes right for them, They see themselves as nothing never goes wrong for them. They see themselves as a top producer. They see themselves doing the top producer activities. They see themselves doing all the things necessary to get to that top spot. They see themselves as abundant, as prosperous. They see themselves as the one. If they see themselves as the one, and they essentially are the star of their own movie, which is their life, they'll become that. That is that in a nutshell. Whatever you see yourself be, you will become. There's a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. Okay. Psycho-Cybernetics. Let me make sure I'm still recording, bro. I don't like when you do this to me, fool. Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. So Maxwell Maltz was a plastic surgeon. He was a plastic surgeon, and what he did was he would change physical aspects about people, physical ailments. I don't want to say ailments, but physical things that they had wrong with them. Like their nose would be crooked. They got an elongated jawline. Eye was messed up. Disfigurements. Physical disfigurements that they had. He would do plastic surgery, correct these disfigurements, right? And one of the things he noticed after doing so much plastic surgery is that people would feel a certain way prior to getting the surgery. And then after they got the surgery, they would be like a new person, right? Some people, though, got the surgery and they still felt like how they did before they got the surgery, right? So this made him do extensive research on this. And back in the 60s, somewhere in the 60s, he came to the conclusion after all this research was that people had a self-image about themselves. And that self-image about themselves dictated their behavior in whatever circumstances that they had in life, whatever their conditions are. Dr. Maxwell Maltz turned... Damn, I can't talk, man. No, hold up. I'm not going to say that. I can talk. I'm a phenomenal communicator. Dr. Maxwell Maltz coined the term self-image. Y'all forgive me. He coined the term self-image. And he concluded that self-image was a determining factor in one's behaviors, in their circumstances. So your self-image is a determining factor in your behaviors that you do, the things that you do, and your circumstances. Okay? For example, if you have a self-image of not being a good driver, right? If you have a self-image of not being a good driver, it is impossible for you to be a good driver. There's no way that you could be a good driver when you think inside of your head that you're not a good driver, right? If you are overweight, you have a self-image of being fat. There's no way that you can be in shape by having a self-image of being fat. Okay? If you somehow manage to lose the weight and your self-image was still of somebody that was fat, you would find a way to gain the weight. It would be like it's like the thermostat in your house, right? If you have it set at 74, right, and you open a window, if it was something like how Texas is right now, it's like 22 degrees outside. If I open the window right now, air is going to rush in here. It's going to bring the temperature of the room down pretty quickly, right? Probably be from 74, it might drop it down to 70, okay? The thermostat is going to recognize the deviation and it's going to send signals to the furnace. It's going to kick it on, okay? Now the furnace is going to run, it's going to run, it's going to run until the temperature gets back up to 74 degrees. Okay? So your self-image of yourself is kind of like your internal thermostat. If you see yourself as broke, okay, you're not going to be able to get rich. You're not going to be able to get money. Okay? Because your internal thermostat is set to broke. So even if you did somehow come into some money, okay, well, my camera shut off, and I was talking about behaviors and circumstances. So you act, behave, and feel according to your self-image, and you do not deviate from this pattern. So if you want to change how you act, behave, and feel, you must change your self-image, right? You must change the things that you say to yourself. You must change the thoughts that you have about yourself. Okay? Dr. Maltz also explains that the image you hold of yourself is a premise, a base of a foundation upon which your entire personality is built. Cool thing about this is you don't like your personality, or if your personality isn't giving you the results that you want, you can change it. You can change your own personality. This is why people can like move to another city and become like a whole nother person. You can change it. You can change your self-image. You can change your behaviors. You can change how you feel about things. Psycho. Cybernetics is not with an I. Cybernetics. Psycho is Greek for mind. Cybernetics is the meaning of the science of control in animals and some machinery. So psycho-cybernetics is pretty much the control of the mind. So in the mind, you have mechanisms. You have a cybernetic mechanism inside of your mind. So Maxwell Maltz, if you haven't read the book, it's a great book, okay? He goes into detail about how your mind is a goal achieving mechanism. And if you set it to achieve a goal, then the mind will find ways to get to that goal using negative feedback. So it's like let's take a Tesla driving car for example, okay? You got the car, you got the Tesla car, right? That don't really look like a Tesla, huh? Okay, you got the Tesla car, okay? So the Tesla car is driving down the road, all right? Now you turn on auto driving. So let me see how I can so how the car stays straight on the road is that it uses negative feedback. So if the car, there's mechanisms and sensors inside of the car. So if the car deviates to the left or deviates to the right, it acts kind of like the temperature or the thermostat inside of your home. Okay, I might have said this. I don't know if I recorded this on the before the camera shut off, but it acts like a thermostat. Okay, when there's a deviation, thermostat kicks on. It brings the temperature back to whatever the temperature is set. Okay, if the car is driving down the road, it is set to a destination. All right, if there's a deviation in the degrees of where the car is going, maybe to the left or to the right, it's going to use a feedback from the sensors. It sends back to the central nervous system. I say your central nervous to whatever is the central control mechanism in that car, and it's going to bring it back on course. It was once said that a rocket fells its way to the moon, right? The car fells its way to its destination. It's going to use negative feedback. When it makes an error, it's going to use it's going to use the sensories and the mechanisms inside the car to correct the error to get to where it needs to go. All right. So your mind does the same thing. So your mind is amazing. You can actually use it to set a goal. And if you keep that goal in your mind is going to use automatic mechanisms to find ways to get to the goal. And you're going to do things and try things, and you're going to run into, um, uh, obstacles and blocks, which aren't things that you just are supposed to give up on. You're not supposed to look at it as, oh, I failed. That is your mind doing things and get to your mind is making the body do things to get to the goal. Okay? You can use your mind, you set a goal. The mind is going to do things. The mind is going to tell you to do things, it's going to tell the body, give you inspired actions in the body to do things to get to the goal. All right? That's why you do something and it doesn't happen the way that you thought it was going to happen. That doesn't mean that you failed. That is the mind doing things. It is recognizing errors and deviating. So if you do something that doesn't work, well, now the mind has registered that in the mind. It's registered that that doesn't work. So now it's going to deviate. And maybe you might try something else. It goes all the way to the right. Nope, that don't work neither. And you're going to keep having an error, and it's going to keep self-directing until you get to the goal that you want to get to. All right? That's pretty much the premise of the book. Your mind is a phenomenal mechanism, and if you use and understand it correctly, you can use it to achieve any goal that you want to achieve. Okay? For example, my son, I have a 17-year-old son, okay? About a little less than a year ago, I'm teaching him how to drive, right? He should know how to drive by now, but I'm teaching him how to drive, and he drives my car. He pulls into a parking lot, and he was doing pretty good job. He pulled into the parking lot pretty good, and he turns a right to go further into the parking lot, but he makes a error in judgment as far as how far the right corner of the car, passenger side of the car, was from the curb. Long story short, he hits the curb, and so just so happened there was a concrete block on the other side of that curve in the grass, which was like the entrance to the sewer system or something. So he goes up the curb, he goes over all that stuff, tears up all the undercarriage of the car, flattens 3 tires immediately, suspension systems, all that shredded, right? $17,000 worth of damage. All right. Now that was an error in his judgment. Now his central nervous system registered that. So he hasn't made that same error since. Okay. That was an error. It was corrected, and hopefully he doesn't have that happen anymore. Okay. But that's how we became good drivers. I'm a phenomenal driver. I don't know about you, but I have a lot of hours behind the road. I've done jobs that require me to drive a lot. So with all the hours, my mind has had so many experiences and instances of driving, self-correcting, self-directing. Now I could probably do this shit in my sleep. Okay. If you've driven a lot, then you understand. But that goes for anything that you're doing. Okay. At the end of the day, you have to start telling yourself a new story about yourself. Start telling yourself that you're phenomenal. Start telling yourself that you're great and you're good at the things that you want to be great and good at. Start telling yourself that money just comes to you easily, effortlessly, quickly, abundantly, and frequently. Start telling yourself that the things that you do that right now you think are hard are easy. Start telling yourself these things, and you start vibrating differently. You start vibrating on a different energy, different frequency, right? But at the end of the day, it all starts with your thoughts in your mind. Okay? So how most people are getting results right now. Most people are doing this. They're looking at their results. They're looking at their results, okay? If their results are not where they want to be, it's not they don't like the results or they want more than the results. They look at the results. In turn, the results are going to give them the thoughts. So if you look at your bank account and it doesn't look like how you want it to look, that's going to dictate what you think. You're going to be like, shit, I'm broke, man. Broke. All right. Now that thinking that you have of being broke or whatever it is, I'm just using that as an example, right? I'm not saying that you're broke. I hope not. Those thoughts are going to dictate their behaviors. Those thoughts are going to dictate the behaviors. No, I'm going to say this. Those thoughts are going to determine the vibration that you're in. So you're going to think of the results that you're getting. It's going to determine what vibration you're in, which is going to give you more of the same results. I'm going to put this. So the results that you are getting are causing you to have the thoughts that you're having, which is putting you in the vibration that you're in, which is the emotions that you feel with the thoughts that you're having, which is going to give you more of the same results. It's like a never ending, it's like a loop. You're getting shitty results that you don't want to get. You're having the thoughts, it's putting you in the vibrations, and you're feeling emotional about having those results. And then you're going to get the same results because you get what you are. So if you want to change something, man, I hope it's still recording, bro. Yeah, we in there. So how we need to, if we want to change our self-image, we have to start with the thoughts. We have to start with what we tell ourselves. So what we need to do is use the thoughts, right? Start thinking something new. Think a new thought. Think of the person that you want to become. Think of, start telling yourself of what you want to be, who you are, truthfully. Okay, truthfully not meaning factual, truthfully as in your mind. What are you? You can create whatever you want to create. Thoughts is going to dictate the vibration. Emotions. Get emotionally involved, whatever you want. Which is going to dictate the behavior. Which is going to give you the results. And I forgot to put behavior right here. All right? But that's what it is. We need to be on this frequency right here. Our thoughts are creating our emotions and our vibrations, right? We get emotionally involved with those thoughts right there. They're going to create or dictate our behaviors, and then the behaviors are going to give the results that we want, right? But it starts with the thoughts. Instead of looking at the results and then thinking, oh shit, this sucks, then those thoughts are going to produce, put you in a certain vibration, low vibration. You get emotionally involved with those thoughts, which is going to dictate the behaviors that you get, which is going to give you the same results that you've been getting. So you need to start doing this right here. You need to start with the thoughts. Start thinking of winner thoughts. Start thinking of amazing ways of how you see yourself. See yourself in amazing ways, I mean. And then you will be on this frequency here. So the thoughts are going to raise your frequency up. But it all starts in your thoughts, how you see yourself, and your self-image. So yeah, man, I hope that wasn't everywhere. It kind of sounded like I was everywhere with it, but I hope y'all get the gist of it. I hope that this was valuable to somebody, and it was understandable. I tried to break it down to the best that I could. So this your boy Rob Millionaire Man. I'm gonna holler at y'all on the next one.